like I said, I was housebound because I was taking care of my sister. And, that's where I put on most of the weight, and COVID and all that stuff. I wasn't leaving home and things just progressed. And now I'm, in my 60s, and I thought it was just a downhill slide after this.
Well, thanks for joining me, Dawn. I really appreciate you taking the time. So, first
thanks
off,
for having me.
Not any time. First off, how did you find the carnivore diet? And I did hear from a mutual friend that you hate carnivores.
Yeah, that's how I found it. No, actually, I found it through a client's mother. And I had made a clickbait title for my YouTube channel saying, I hate carnivores, not knowing what was going to happen with that. But as soon as you started watching the video, I explained immediately, I don't hate carnivores. I'm jealous. I wanted to be one, and I just didn't think I could. I didn't think I was going to be able, because at the beginning I had to do ketovore. I had to ease myself into it. But anyway, it brought a lot of the carnivores, boy, they came loaded for bear. They were going to just tear me up. And I got a lot of vegans too. And as soon as they realized, they were so wonderful. The carnivore community is the best. And they were so great and so encouraging. And that just began my journey. And that's where I met George. And he's been, I call him my sponsor. Like, people in AA have a sponsor. George is my sponsor. He's been there all along the way and has helped me tremendously. So, but yeah, that's how it started. And prior to doing the carnivore diet, I was really desperate. I was extremely sick, 100 pounds overweight, and I was miserable. And I was really sick, to the point where I had to have blood transfusions, and I was supposed to be hospitalized, but I couldn't because I was a caregiver for my sister, and there would have been nobody home to take care of her. I had no choice. I couldn't be hospitalized. But anyway, at that point, my hemoglobin was 6.2. I was, severely anemic, and I didn't know about carnivore yet. But anyway, it's so funny because one day my husband come home from work, and I had been throwing up blood. I thought I had the flu, and I was throwing up, and I had diarrhea, and I thought, oh, this is just the worst flu ever. But when he came in the room, it looked like a murder scene, because I'm throwing up blood. I didn't think it was blood. I thought I was taking these beetroot capsules. And I said, oh, honey, it's not blood. It's these beetroot capsules. They just make it look like blood. And he goes, no, you don't. You're white. Your lips are white. Your face is white. And my daughter came in the room, and she said the same thing. And they were begging me to go to the hospital. And I was like, you guys, it's the flu. Calm down. They're like, well, at least let us call for an ambulance. And I thought, I am not having a bunch of firefighters come into my room and load my 100-pound ass down the stairs. Plus, I've been throwing up. I looked like hell, and my vanity overtook me. I was like, no, just leave me here to die. I would rather die than have somebody see me like this. So they backed off, but I remained sick. And so finally, I think it was 2 days later, I called one of those medical things. They come to your house, basically, because I couldn't leave. I was too sick. So these two nurses, they come in, they take your vitals, they took blood. I thought they're going to just hook me up to an IV, because that was part of their program. They would give you vitamins in a bag or whatever. And I thought they're going to heal me. This is the flu. Well, they took my blood, and immediately they're like, ma'am, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, why? What's wrong? What is this? And they told me, they said, your hemoglobin is down to 6.2. You need to get a blood transfusion. And that blew me away. I freaked out. So I did. My husband took me in right away. I went in. I had to have some transfusions. They told me I needed to stay. They needed to figure out why my blood count was so low, what's going on. And I refused because, like I said, I was a caregiver for my sister at the time. I couldn't get a respite nurse. So I had to be home to take care of her. I said, I'll heal myself. The blood transfusion did help a little bit. And so I thought, okay, I'll be fine now that I've had this. So I go home. I started doing research, what can I do to feel better? And I did go see my primary doctor. And you know what she told me? She told me to eat iron fortified cereals, that would boost, right. That would boost my iron levels, not red meat. She didn't tell me to eat red meat because, they think that causes heart disease and gout and everything. So I was eating Rice Krispies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they did put me on iron therapy. I was taking, iron pills throughout the day. And it helped a little bit. It brought my count up to 9. It's supposed to be 12, but 9 felt a lot better than 6.2. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm on the right track. So I started feeling better. And I decided to create a YouTube channel just to document what I was going through and hopefully find other people that are in the same position maybe. And the first 3 months that I was doing that, I wasn't on carnivore yet. I was trying various things. I was taking supplements. I even took this weird tar-like substance that was supposed to just change my life. And it did absolutely nothing. A bunch of supplements were that way. They were supposed to be life-changing and nothing happened. So anyway, I wasted a ton of money on that stuff. And I started drinking water and I thought I was eating healthier. But until I discovered carnivore, I didn't know what healthy eating was. I was eating more like protein bars and drinking protein shakes, eating salads. It did nothing. But anyway, I did lose like 15 pounds in that 3-month period. So I thought I must be on the right track, even though I still did not feel great. But I didn't know what great was. I never did feel good. All my life, I'd been on the standard American diet. All my life, I felt like crap. And I've always had problems with anemia. It just got worse after I had the lap band. I got the lap band 10 years ago. And because I've never been able to lose weight. I've tried every diet under the sun. I'm in my 60s. I just thought thin wasn't in the cards for me. I will never be thin. I even had surgery and I still could not lose all the weight. So anyway, the lap band surgery caused way more issues than it helped. I lost some weight, not all. But now I'm not able to absorb nutrients like a normal person does. So I need to actually eat more, but I can't. I eat less now because my stomach is smaller. So I was becoming malnourished. And I didn't even know that was what the issue was. I'm becoming malnourished because I'm still fat. So I'm like, how can I be malnourished? I'm still 100 pounds overweight. That doesn't make sense. So anyway, I'm trying to feel better. I'm doing all these things, I even, I was going through a depression on a side note. My sister did pass away after taking care of her for several years. And 2 days later, my only daughter and her daughter, who had been living with us, moved like 12, 13 hours away. So I started going through the heavy depression. I became housebound. And I was pretty much housebound prior to that because of taking care of my sister. But now I couldn't leave. I was not feeling good. And it wasn't until I decided if I don't do something, I'm in my 60s, I am literally going to die. This is it for me. And I wasn't ready. So I decided I've got to get serious. I've got to do something. And that's when I started, researching supplements and different diets and all that stuff. And I lost a little bit of weight. Well, then I decided I need to get a job. I need a purpose. I need to get out of bed and leave the house every day. So I got a job outside the home, which allowed me to get up and leave. And one of my clients' mothers was a carnivore. And prior to that, I didn't know anything about being a carnivore. I just thought it was another weird fad diet for people that like to eat lots of red meat. It was an excuse to eat red meat. But she's my age. She was fit. She looked young. She was healthy and vital. And I thought, there's something to this. I mean, I'm looking at her and then looking at me. And it's like, well, whatever I'm doing sure ain't working. So I'm going to give this a try. And she was really gentle about it. She didn't say, hey, lady, you really need to look into this. She gave me some books and gave me some links to check out. And she taught me about oxalates. I didn't know anything about oxalates either, so that was new. But anyway, I got into it. I started doing it, but I started off slow. I did the ketovore. I was still having like avocado and some Brussels sprouts and some nuts, but
Yeah.
that's okay at the beginning. It eased me into it. I couldn't have dived head into it because I would have just fallen right out. I know me. I'm not a very disciplined person. So I did that. I did that. I cut out all the carbs, the crap, the sugar. And basically the beginning part for me was just curing me from my addictions of sugar and carbs.
Yeah.
Once I healed from that, then I was able to progress into doing carnivore, and it was a lot easier for me. So yeah, so then that was the beginning of a transformation like I couldn't believe. My life has changed so much. Not only did I regain my health, a health that I've never had because I've never felt like this, but I finally started losing the weight. I'd never been able to lose weight this easily. And that blew me away, not even with the lap band. And I wasn't even in this to lose the weight. I had given up on that. I had resigned on the fact of ever losing weight. I thought I'm always going to be overweight. This is my body makeup. The universe has just decided I am going to be this size forever. I just wanted to get healthy. I just wanted to feel better. And so I was doing this to feel better. And then, like I said, I started losing weight on top of it without even trying, because it's not a deprivation diet. I was never hungry at any point. I was never hungry, you know. So yeah, then I started losing the weight on top of it. I was like, what the, how did I never know about this? This is a miracle. So yeah, I created my channel, and now it turned into a carnivore channel. I was obsessed. That's all I want. I wanted to share this with everybody, assuming everybody would want to know and be part of this. Well, not everybody. Yeah, not everybody wants to know, especially your doctor. So I'm so glad I did that, though, because I only know this one person that does carnivore in real life. I didn't know anybody else. So coming online, I was able to meet other carnivores and hear their stories and get inspiration from them. And it's just been amazing.
Yeah, that's quite a story. Yeah, I can understand. This is a lot of people's problem too. They think that, okay, they just resign themselves to this. This is my weight. This is just my genetics, sort of thing.
Genetics,
and
yeah.
yeah, it always gets blamed on genetics, But yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
Your
that's
doctor
part of that.
telling you fortified iron fortified cereal. Oh my
Right?
god!
Not red meat. Yeah, not red meat. Don't eat more red meat. And if
Unbelievable.
I didn't really, yeah, I'm surprised by that. So I'm afraid to even tell her that's what I'm doing. I'm afraid, she's going to be upset with me, because I've heard from other people. They've said the same thing. They said their doctors don't agree with it. Few do. Well, we know, like Dr. Barry and Dr. Chafee and Sean Baker, we know they know that it's okay. But and more doctors are catching on. But there's still a
Slowly
lot. They
but
don't have,
surely.
yeah, I heard they don't really study nutrition that much.
No,
So
they don't. I mean, especially at GPs, they get maybe 3 hours of study, when they talk about nutrition. But
wow.
that's just nothing, isn't it? So, and most
Right.
of it's all just, again, these institutions that teach them are all sponsored by pharma as well. So they only learn what they want them to know. Um,
Exactly.
and unfortunately, they don't do enough of their own research. Most of them,
I know.
they're just as fallible as every other person, though. They're people are people.
Right. Right. And I
That's the
know
way it
that.
is.
I know that.
Mm,
That's why it's so important that, I do have the carnivore community, people that do understand it and are knowledgeable in it. And, people like Bart K.
oh,
That guy
yeah,
is he's yeah, I saw that. And he's absolutely amazing. And then, you have all these other good doctors, and more are coming aboard. People
yeah,
are realizing that the nutritional guideline was bought and paid for
oh,
by, the big food industry and big pharma, because that's
mm,
the argument I get when people come to my channel. They're like, look at the food pyramid, you dummy. You're supposed to be eating more grains and fruits and vegetables. And you try to tell them, look, it's a lie. It's a lie. I'm sorry, but yeah. And even all I can do is tell you how I feel. I've been doing this now for 4 months. I have lost 50 pounds. I
That's
have
incredible.
energy. I have my blood counts up. I've cured so many ailments. How can this be bad?
That's right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Not to mention the thousands and thousands of other stories, people like yourself and so many others that have healed from it. If it was so horrible, it wouldn't have done so much good for so many people. And
No, that's right.
so that's
Yeah.
I just try to be an example. I'm still considered a newbie on my journey because this isn't a diet. This is a lifestyle. This is forever. It's a journey. And so I'm really at the beginning of it. And I don't feel like I have enough knowledge that I can really debate with other people. I always refer them to other channels like Bart K and Dr. Barry and even Carrie Mann from Homestead How. He was one of my first inspirations because he was just a regular person. And he started carnivore, like I did, and realized how incredible it was. So I loved watching his story and seeing how he's evolved. And now he's doing the, Healing Humanity Project and the documentary and stuff. And more people are getting on board and realizing. So it's exciting to watch. I feel like we're at the beginning of it, and more and more people are going to become aware. And hopefully at that point I can be of more help. That's the whole point of my channel. I like to talk about it a lot. I'm obsessed, and I like to share what I'm doing and what it's done for me in hopes of helping others. And just talking to other carnivores in the comments section. People come and we share stories and stuff. So it's just been life changing. And I'm 63 now. I turned 63 in October, and I feel better. Even in my 20s, I didn't feel like this because I was still eating the crap. Even though I was younger and thinner, I still always felt terrible. I always had that brain fog, the crushing fatigue. I'd get sick all the time. I never felt good, but I didn't know what good was. I thought, well, I'm just tired because I'm a mom. I got 3 kids, I'm working, whatever. I never attributed it to the fact that I was eating a terrible diet. Because I never thought I ate that bad. I wasn't one of those people that ate tons of fast food or, lots of junk food. I thought for the most part, ate a fairly healthy diet, but I never did. I can see that now. I wasn't eating healthy.
Well,
And
a lot of people are like that, though. I was the same. It was, you think you do everything right, according to not just the dietary guidelines, but the education. When you,
right, what we know.
I was a personal trainer. I was a strength and conditioning coach. I studied sports science, and it's the food education is all about calories, and it's all about lean meats. No, get rid of the fat, low fat diets,
Right.
and heaps of carbs. And I mean, now I just feel it's embarrassing that I even thought that way. But that's the way it is. That's all we hear. And I think most people do want to be healthy, and they do try. But there's just so much muddy water out there as well. It's really difficult to find the truth. And when it comes to even nutrition science, it's all bought and paid for. I mean, by corporations. It's corporations that actually started these fields, like the Dietetics Association of America, that actually influenced the dietary guidelines around the world, was started by Kellogg's, and the rest of them.
Nuts.
So this is the kind of thing that people don't understand. So it's very easy to understand why people fall for it. And like you said before, you were malnourished. We've been malnourished our entire lives because we've been raised on this junk food, on carbohydrates and cereals and grains and all these other things. So we're just overfed and malnourished.
Exactly. And I didn't even realize that could happen. And back to talking about, eating fat. That was a
Yeah.
really difficult one for me to wrap my head around because I grew up in the era of Susan Powter where fat equals fat, you know,
Yeah.
and she was pushing all the non-fat foods. Remember, everything was non-fat. There was a period of time. That
Yeah.
stuff was just gross.
Yeah.
But
Everything like from the 80s, everything had to be low fat, and it just,
right,
it's absolutely toxic, really toxic stuff. It really is.
so bad.
Um, and it's these people that have, I mean, there are some, genetics does play some role in these sort of
Sure.
things. So you see all these online trainers, for example, they look fit and healthy. Mostly they're just young, and some of us are genetically gifted, with athleticism, and so everyone thinks that okay, they must know what they're talking about, but that's not really the case. The fact is they're just young and fit at the moment. It
Right.
does catch up. It does
Right.
catch up. I was the same. I was very lean. I was very fit, but I was very sick. These people just don't understand.
Right. I
Um,
know. A lot of us associate just being thin with being healthy,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Being thin and doesn't mean healthy, and being lean doesn't mean healthy either.
And
So,
yeah, I
but they
had a
don't get
difficult time with that. And then they had the, what is it? People promoting fat and stuff like that. And I never did get into that, even though I had resigned myself to never being thin. I still could not agree with the fact that you could be fat and be healthy because I feel like carrying that excess weight is detrimental. And
right.
I was worried about that because I thought even if I was to get healthy, whatever that meant, um, and as long as I was carrying around this extra weight, how could I be healthy? That's going to
Yeah,
be hard on my body, my joints, my
yeah,
knees, and all that type of stuff. But I thought because I see a lot of people saying, "Yeah, I'm 200 pounds overweight and I'm healthy," and it's like, I don't know about that. I just don't know
yeah.
if that's
Well, it's
true.
good that you haven't fallen for that. I mean, there's this sort of plus size sort of
Fat
um,
acceptance.
fat acceptance sort of thing is going around now. Like fit, or they say healthy at any size, right? But the fact is they're not healthy at any size.
No,
You know,
no.
and that's the problem with it doesn't matter if you are. I mean, I see it a lot. I call them slim fat. There's a lot of slim people or even thin people
Right.
that do carry a lot of fat because they have don't have enough muscle tissue. But there's also they're just metabolically unhealthy. It doesn't
Yes.
matter what size they are, and
Right.
our whole population, they're just
Oh,
not
yeah.
healthy at any size.
Right.
So
Right. And,
yeah,
carrying around that excess weight, at least for me, I can't talk for everybody else, but even, when I was starting to feel better, when you carry around the excess weight, it makes it hard to exercise like you want or to walk.
that's right.
It's like put 100-pound backpack on your back and try going walking. If you're a thin
That's
person,
right.
it's difficult.
Mm.
And one
It's
of the
very
other
tiring.
Right. And one of the other things I didn't mention that has happened since I've been doing the carnivore diet, besides getting rid of the all over inflammation, the pain that we all have, especially an older person like myself, I had, aches in my joints and I just thought, okay, I'm old. This is how it's going to be. I'm just going to take Tylenol every day. I'm
Yeah.
going to be arthritic. That went away, completely went away. And I had a serious knee injury that I thought was going to require surgery. I even walked with the hiking stick because it really hurt. I had to ice it almost daily.
Yeah.
That pain is gone like it never happened. I keep waiting for it to come back and it hasn't come back. And
Yeah.
I also thought, having the excess weight didn't help. And now that I'm 50 pounds thinner, walking is so much easier for me. I just feel lighter. I have like a bounce in my step, it's not all
Yeah.
sluggish. And but yeah, and it's released the pain in my knee. I know that's from losing the weight. I don't have the
Mm.
weight and losing the inflammation. So that's been a miracle. How come doctors don't talk about that? They
Yeah.
wanted to put me on pain meds and I did do physical therapy and it didn't do anything. So the next step, of course, was surgery, but not now.
No, that's right. Yeah, I mean, they all like to treat the symptoms, but they don't want to treat the cause.
Right.
So
Because that doesn't make them any money. They want to keep us coming.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. They want to keep
know?
us, keep treating the symptoms for the rest of your life.
Right.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Except I was only 38, 37 actually. I was thinking, well, I'm getting slow, I'm getting old, and I couldn't do the things that I was trying to keep up with these young athletes I was coaching. They're all like 18, 20 years old, and some days I'd absolutely just um, just dominate them, but other days I just couldn't even keep up, and I start thinking, oh wow, I'm just getting old, sort of thing.
Right.
At 37.
37. Oh my God. Oh, I wish. I wish.
It's funny.
But
We go through this. We always make these. We try and rationalize why we're not performing better, why our bodies aren't doing what we want them to do. We sort of rationalize it. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's not because of our diet.
No,
I'm doing everything right.
right. Of course, but it's not only is it, healing, and that's what it's mainly about. And I try to tell people that it's not necessarily the first choice I would, the diet I would choose to lose weight. It's more of a healing diet. And then, losing weight is part of your healing. If you're carrying excess weight, part of the healing is losing that weight. But it's, to me, it's like the fountain of youth. It has given me back my youth. I feel better than I did 20, 30 years ago. I have the mental clarity, which comes with being older. Now I don't have that. It's also from eating all the crappy foods. You get that brain fog. Everybody has it. You can see everybody has it nowadays. You get released from that. Your mind is clear and sharp again, like it was when you were younger, which is another thing that happens to us as we get older. We get that brain fog, and all these issues I just attributed to being older, the inflammation, the aches and pains, the brain fog, the sluggishness, being tired. I just thought that's just part of being old. And it's not. It's our diet. Literally, it was just, all I had to do was cut out the crap and all those things were gone. Yeah. And never once did my doctor suggest I change my diet. Never.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't that crazy?
Like you said, like all these things, they get normalized, as we go, we just think, oh, that's just a part of aging, like all these different diseases, all these different conditions. It's all just normalized.
Right.
But it's not normal.
It's not normal.
No.
No.
Hundreds of years ago, they didn't have these problems. So it's not a normal state for us to be in.
I had no idea that people felt like this. I didn't know that people felt this good.
Yeah. Yeah, some do.
And without medicines. I am not on any medication. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I come from a big family. I have 7 siblings, and every single one of them are on either blood pressure medication or cholesterol medication, anxiety meds. I am the only one, and I don't take anything. And so, and I try to, say that's why, but, it's easier to take a pill than to change your diet, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Like, actually, everyone in my family, they're all on medications as well. And it's ironic that I'm the only one that doesn't take anything. After the years of cancer and treatment and chemotherapy, I'm the only one that's not on any medication.
Wow. So that's wonderful.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. It amazes me just how resilient the body is. Like yourself, you've come from being 100 pounds overweight. You've got all these joint problems and other health problems, your blood and everything else, to where you are now. Think about like a lifetime of abuse with the wrong food. and to where you are now, it's incredible how much the body can heal.
Right. In just a short time. Because,
That's right.
I've only been doing this now for 4 months. And
That's amazing.
yeah, the fact that, like I said, I was housebound because I was taking care of my sister. And, that's where I put on most of the weight, and COVID and all that stuff. I wasn't leaving home and things just progressed. And now I'm, in my 60s, and I thought it was just a downhill slide after this. But just since I've done this, I obviously I leave the house. I'm working. I go on vacations. I go camping. I have 8 grandkids. I went on a 4-day musical festival with my son and his family. Um, I'm living. I'm living my life. I'm not just waiting to die anymore. I'm actually out there doing things, and I'm not tired. I go to sleep like a normal person, but I wake up refreshed. I don't wake up just waiting to go back to bed. When I wake up in the morning, I've slept. I've had a good night's sleep. I wake up and I'm feeling good and ready to go. And it also helps with me. I have mood swings and anxiety, and it has even helped with that. I called it the happy diet at the beginning because it was like I was so happy. I was so happy to finally feel good. I was so happy to be losing the weight. And I just was like, this is unbelievable. I know I was obnoxious at the beginning because I was just like, oh my God, I was like, how can people not know about this? But then I went online, and there are people, I just didn't know about it. And then once I found out about it and started coming online talking, I realized there's many, many, many of us, still not enough. We need to get the word out. There needs to be more channels for people to see, but I'm grateful for the ones that are there, because I think I've watched every single one. I wanted to hear everybody, because everybody's story is different. We've all got a different story, and some of them are a little more extreme like yours, but it's so inspiring to hear that, because we know about red meat is what we've learned from, our doctors and the dietary guideline. And most people, I find, are still afraid of red meat and fat.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if you look at the past 4 years, like you're talking about the lockdown, the COVID, and everyone's been shut inside, sort of thing. How easy it was to scare everyone,
right?
People, and people wearing masks and all these other things that, but this has been going on for a very long time. They've been scaring us about red meat for 100 years plus.
Isn't that crazy?
So it's something we've grown up with. Red meat's bad.
Yeah.
We've only survived the last 4.5 million plus years on it, but the last 100 years, it's all of a sudden bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's the culprit for all our ailments.
Yeah, because it shifts the blame. Like it shifts the blame from these corporations that all these chemicals. You're talking about, your mood swings and things like that. These chemicals in our brain, of course, they're going to affect the way we think, the way we feel.
Right. So, right. You know what, though? I noticed that the fat, the butter, that actually helps with the moods. And I watch Steak and Butter Gal, and she talks about that. And I find when I started eating fat, because I wasn't at the beginning. I was still kind of leery of the fat. That just didn't make sense to me. So I kind of avoided it. But then I was going through a period where I hit like a stall, because I found that I wasn't eating enough. Because of the lap band surgery, I can't eat big meals. And I was losing my appetite. I wasn't really hungry. So I was starting to go into starvation mode. And I wasn't eating any fat. And so I had to do some research. And once I started eating butter, I was eating like a half a stick a day. It kickstarted my weight loss again. And it made me feel better. I don't know what it does. It's hormonal, but it just made me feel better. Because I say, when you're dieting, at least with women, we get that anxiety feeling, kind of that witchy feeling. I can't explain it. But when you're eating the fat, it just smooths things out. I just felt more relaxed. I was satiated. So it released endorphins in my brain. And I feel so much better. So now I make sure I get enough fat. And that's something I've avoided my whole life. And now, I make carnivore crack with, it's like 2 sticks of butter and like 6 or 7 pieces of bacon in it. You melt the butter, you brown it, and then you put the crumbled bacon in it and you stick it in the freezer and cut it into squares. And I just pop one of those whenever I'm feeling edgy or I'm in a hurry, I don't have time to eat. They're like energy, little bars of energy, and they just make me feel better. So yeah, I highly recommend that. But yeah, fat is where it's at least in our food.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I was the same. I was fat phobic before I was diagnosed, and in the end, I just didn't care. You know, I thought, you know, bring on the heart attack. It's going to be, you know, a lot easier than going through chemo. You know.
Oh God, right.
So, but you know, we thrive on fatty acids. We need fatty acids for our, you know, our lymphatic system, our hormone system. Without it, we can't produce hormones. That's why we get so edgy when, you know, if you getting low on energy, or if you're getting sort of anxiety and that sort of, you're just not producing enough hormones to keep you going. So you need fat.
Yeah,
you need fatty acids. So
yeah, it's important to learn that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that was a really big shock to me too, because I didn't know enough about the lymphatic system, or you know, the hormone protect and my liver. You know, it's so imperative that your liver gets enough fat to. I mean, your liver actually produces fat when you eat carbohydrates as well. That's how important fat is to your body. You know? But that's how you get non-alcoholic fatty liver disease too, because you know, supplements like you were talking about before. And I was the same. I was a supplement king before I was diagnosed, and you know, I took all sorts of powders and all sorts of for different reasons.
Right,
and that's what leads to, you know, that sort of thing actually leads to more chronic disease. You know, because you know, your liver starts getting fatty, and it just builds up from there too. So it really destroys your lymphatic system. You know, these supplements that they keep trying to sell us to you know, they tell us, make us healthy. It's the same as taking a lot of medications. It's one of the side effects they don't tell you about. You know,
oh gosh, right?
Yeah. And like when I was going through treatments, I had a mountain of medications that I was taking. You know, and they don't tell you that the damage that this does to your liver. You know.
Yeah, each one of those medications probably have a whole host of side effects.
Yeah, that's right. You know, so, and then they give you medications to help with the side effects of the medications they give you. You know,
right? Then it just
crazy.
It's crazy. But you know, I know for me, it was easier to look for a magic pill than to change my diet. So that's why I was willing to pay whatever, you know, and I, you know, researched all these various supplements, and of course they were all going to save my life, and nothing, they didn't do anything.
They all promised that. They all promised that. So but you know, unfortunately we think, well, if it's healthy, yeah, it's a health food, you know, it must be good for us, sort of thing. It's
Health food.
But we don't sort of analyze, okay, if we need these supplements, there's got to be something wrong with my diet. You know, we just never think about it, you know. And I think, you know, these chemicals going through your body gives you that, like you said, that brain fog. It makes it very difficult to think about these things.
Right. The brain fog is the worst.
Yeah, you know? It is. It's horrible. Yeah.
You can't even, you just want to get through your day. I couldn't even think past that. I just, dealing with my day-to-day stuff, I just, you know, and once that fog lifts and you can see clearly and you can start making sense of things and realize what's really going on and do the research that you need to do. I've learned so much, you know, and it's like, it's crazy how bad we've been lied to for so long, but it's starting to come to light because of people like you and all these other good carnivores that are online that are explaining it. And we're, you know, it's tough because there's still a lot of people out there that are full into the whole vegan vegetarian thing. And they just wanted to be.
That's quite funny. I mean, it's ironic, really, because I mean, they think of themselves as rebels because they're going a natural, raw, vegan sort of diet, so they're against the corporations, but it's exactly what they want to eat, you know. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
crazy.
quite ironic, really. You understand
Right.
though, they still have that. They have a very strong brain fog as well. They just can't think properly. They're not
Right.
getting the nutrients that they need for their bodies, um, and you can see
And
it. Like most of
I've
them look
said that
like
from the
great
beginning.
athletes.
Right. When I first started this, I noticed right away when vegans or vegetarians would come to my page to argue versus carnivores, it seemed like they were more angry. They were
Oh
just
yeah,
real controversial. Whereas the carnivores, and this was before I was full carnivore, I was just beginning, and I was like, should I be an omnivore or herbivore? What makes sense? And I had videos like that, and they would come at me, the vegans, and they were terrible. And the carnivores were always way more gentle, and they were just trying to be helpful. They weren't trying to push their agenda on me, or they were just trying to offer some advice. And I realized that at the beginning, and I said, you know what? People that feel good when they're healthy, when you're healthy and you feel good, you are good. It's easier to be kind. And I think
yeah,
these people doing these vegan vegetarian diets, they aren't feeling good. So
yeah.
it's like they're angry and they
Well,
wanted to
it's like that feeling you're saying before, like when if you don't eat enough fat, you start feeling really edgy.
yeah, yeah,
They're on extreme low fat diets for a very long time. So they're really on edge.
yeah.
They're just not feeling it. So
And I know that's a big part of it. So I was still trying to be polite about it because, I don't really know a lot about vegan and vegetarianism. I did try it briefly when I was young, just because it was trendy and it's cool to be a vegan. And I just thought I looked cool. So I tried to do it. It was terrible.
yeah,
And I didn't feel good. And I actually gained weight because I had to substitute it with carbs because, fruits and vegetables aren't filling. So I found myself eating more pastas and rice and stuff like that. So I actually gained a little weight. And yeah, I did that briefly. And then I realized this is stupid. I don't feel any better after 6 months. I thought I was going to feel so much better. It did nothing for me. So I
yeah.
don't really
They all like you
understand.
to think that. They all like you to think
Yeah.
that you feel great when you go vegan. I mean, if you go from a standard Western diet to vegan, the first six
Yeah,
months you're going to feel good,
of
and you're
course.
going to lose weight. But a lot of the
Exactly.
weight they lose is bone and muscle as well. So, but
Yeah, yeah.
you can't tell them.
But they feel like they put themselves on a pedestal. I know a lot of people
Yeah,
think much highly of themselves and they feel like they're more disciplined and stuff. And it's such a deprivation diet. It's like, why do that to yourself? That's the one thing about being a carnivore. You never feel deprived. When I'm hungry, I eat.
well,
I
you're
eat.
not deprived. It's nutrient density wise, you're actually eating more now than you ever did in your life. The standard Western diet is actually more deprived than the carnivore diet is.
Right, right.
You just have more variety of poison. That's all.
There, yeah, you have a variety. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. But what I'm eating now, and I tell people that they're like, you're so limited. And it's like, you know what though? What I'm eating, I really enjoy. It's not like,
yeah,
oh God, steak again.
yeah,
I really enjoy it. When I'm hungry and I eat, it's never drudgery. Like when I was dieting, it was like, oh God, what am I eating today? A big bowl of cauliflower or a
yeah.
salad with oil and vinegar dressing. It's not like that. I'm eating a big old fat ribeye and with butter on it,
Yeah.
and then I feel full and it releases endorphins and I feel good after I've eaten and it gives me energy. Whereas, when you're eating the carbs and stuff, you get tired after you eat. So,
Yeah, that's
and that's
right.
another thing I always tell everybody, I swear beef gives me energy. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
true or not, but I always have energy after I eat. Whereas before I would be tired after a meal, especially if I had a lot of carbs in it. So I don't know. Is that true? Does beef give you
Yeah,
energy?
absolutely. Yeah,
Because I feel
absolutely.
it.
Yeah,
Good.
good word. You get the proteins, you get the. I mean, there's another thing too. They keep saying you get protein from all these other plants and protein powders and things like that. They talk about protein as like crude protein, like all protein is the same as long as it's protein, but it's not. We absorb amino acids, and they're all different categories. It's the same as, you know, vitamins and minerals. You have different currencies, basically. Like, you know, there's some that we can absorb and some that we can't. And there's everything in the meat we can absorb. Nothing in the vegetables we can. You know, so you're just starving yourself. You are starving your body of nutrients when you're on the standard Western or a vegan or vegetarian diet, because you're not getting any nutrients to your body.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's really a lot more to it than just saying I got to eat protein and fat. You know, like there's different types of fats too. Same as, you know, there's omega-3s, plural, for example, because there are more than one type of omega-3s. But you can get omega-3s from nuts and grains, for example, but you can't absorb it,
Okay.
and it does nothing for
Oh,
you. All right.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so
That's
you
interesting.
need, yeah, DHA and EPA. There's different types of omega-3s, so that's why it's really good to eat seafood and lamb fat, you know, because they're really high in omega-3s. But you can't get the
Oh,
same
I
things.
didn't know that.
Yeah, same as collagen. Collagen is a type of protein, an amino acid that you can't get from plants, from any plants, and it's the most prolific around the body, the human body. Your bones are mostly made up from collagen. You know, calcium plays a very small role, right? Because collagen keeps your bones
I know that.
strong and flexible. So that if you take a fall, sort of thing, if it was just calcium, it'd be brittle and hard, and they would break every time you hit something. But it needs to be flexible so that when you get an impact, your bones don't break. It's like cat's bones. You know, they're very strong. You know,
There's a
because
lot
they
of
eat a lot of
collagen
food.
in meat, right?
That's right. And it's only in meat. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, that's why it's the fountain of youth,
yeah, that's right. Mm.
you know,
Yeah,
because prior to this,
so,
I was taking the collagen powders because of my
yeah.
joints and stuff, and I heard that was going to help. But
Mm.
I'm not consistent with any of that stuff. I still have a whole bag of it, but I was hoping that it would help. And now, like I said, I have no problem with my joints, and I'm just eating, and I'm eating the
Yeah.
meat, and it's making all the
Well,
difference in the
again, the
world.
problem with these supplements too is that, yeah, they tell you they've got like collagen powders, for example. Where did they source it from? If it's like a plant based,
Yeah.
it's not going to do any. You're not going to absorb it. And all the powders, supplements especially, they do a lot of damage to your liver.
Mm,
So these are things that we sort of, you know, everyone thinks, oh, if you take these different supplements, it's going to help, but no, it doesn't.
right.
It really doesn't. So.
Yeah.
And the same people that make medications make supplements. So that
Oh,
should tell
of
you a
course.
lot. So
Right.
yeah,
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 no, just, and it's, like I said, it's been simple as far as, what I'm eating. I just cut out the junk and
yeah,
just eat whole foods. And yeah, it's, you don't count calories. You don't have to count carbs because there are no carbs in meat, maybe one or two and like eggs and stuff like that, but it's still minimal. And you eat until you're full, and that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else, and you're getting all the nutrients you need, so you don't have to take all these other supplements. I do only with the iron because I don't absorb the food like I should because of the lap band. And
yeah,
so I found that I do still have to take iron therapy. Most people don't, but there's a lot of people doing carnivore. I found out that I've also had the same type of surgery, and they've run into the same problems and they weren't aware. And so I do suggest that for other people because, we just can't absorb. You need to eat enough, and we can't eat as much as a normal person would. So it's unfortunate, but it's okay. I don't mind having to take an iron pill. Everything else is wonderful. I don't take any other vitamins or anything, and I still feel great. My skin's healing, and like I said, all these other issues that I had I have nothing. I don't have any other issues, and I run into people all the time. I live in a small town that are my age, and honestly, they look decrepit. And
yeah.
I'm like, wow,
And they
why?
sort of they love to tell you all these different niggling problems that they have too.
Oh, right. And all the
You know,
medications they're on.
yeah,
And I'm like, wow, it's
Yeah.
scary, and I don't want to be rude and say, if you just change your diet, you could get rid of all that. I just, try to be sympathetic and just thank God that I found the carnivore diet, or that be me as well. It was me. It was me. About a year ago, I was walking with, like, I used a hiking stick because I thought it made me look cooler than a cane, but I was that decrepit, being overweight, and I felt like crap and stuff. And I'm sure I looked way older than I am. So yeah, what am I talking about? I was right there with them. So yeah, it's been life
Oh, we've
changing.
all been there, you know.
Yeah, but
And
I'm
I was,
I'm I'm in this for the long haul. This isn't, like I said, this isn't a diet. You don't get on it. Okay, now I've cured my ailments. I've lost the weight. I'm going to go back to.
no,
You can't.
no,
You
that's
can't do
right.
that.
You can never go back.
No,
No.
this is forever. And people are like, "Aren't you going to miss that? Miss what? Miss feeling like crap?
Yeah,
Miss
that's
being,
right.
overweight? No, I don't miss that."
No. Now, no one misses being stuck in bed or being overweight or being sick.
Right, right.
So
And if this is the
it's,
cure for it, I'd
yeah.
much rather, do this, eat delicious food, and as much as I want, pretty much, and
Mm,
feel good. So
yeah.
yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. And I'm just so thankful, like I said, that there's so many people that are starting to come forward and let people know that it's okay. It's okay to eat red meat. It's okay to eat fat.
So what does your day of eating look like then? Like how many meals do you break down a day?
Well, because I don't eat big, because I see some people would be like, oh, I eat 6 or 7 eggs and, 10 pieces of bacon. I could never do that. I can eat like 2 pieces of bacon at a time and maybe 1 or 2 scrambled eggs. So that would be breakfast.
Yeah.
And then for lunch, I eat sugar-free beef jerky because it's just easy for me to take that with me. So I always take like a packet of beef jerky for lunch. And then when I come home, I'll have, I can't eat a whole steak. I cut them in half. I'll eat a half a steak and I slice it very, very thin so I can eat it. And then I'll have like 2 or 3 egg yolks. I don't like the egg whites, and I'll just cook them in butter.
Oh,
And
good.
that's what I'll eat. And then occasionally, not so much anymore, but there was a time when I would go through periods where I was hungry. I would eat pork rinds. I'd put some cheese on them, and that would be my snack. Like on the
Yeah.
weekends when we were watching movies and everybody's having popcorn and I wanted something crunchy and salty, I would have some pork rinds, but I don't do that every day, not usually during the week. But yeah, that's pretty much what I eat. I make carnivore crack, and I have that throughout the week. I'll have a couple pieces of that. But
Do
like I
you
said,
buy
excuse me?
do you buy the beef jerky or do you make it yourself?
No, but I want to. We have a dehydrator, and I do want to do that because at first, when I was eating the beef jerky, I was eating the ones that they had sugar in it, and
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. I wasn't reading the label. I was just looking at the carbs, and then when
Yeah.
I started getting serious, I actually started reading the labels, and I realized, okay, I can't eat that. But I found a sugar-free one, or my husband did, and it's wonderful. And I thought we could make this.
Yeah.
We could make this because it's expensive. It's like $7 for like 1 serving or 2 servings.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
expensive stuff.
yeah,
But
so I do want to.
another thing people should be careful of too is a lot of meat jerkies. They also include soy enhanced proteins.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so that's something they should look for as well. If you have a look at, like, I know all the Costco beef jerkies and things like that as well, they're all soy enhanced proteins added to it. So
Oh, yeah, I
there's
wasn't aware.
seed oils that will make you fat as well and do a lot of damage. So
Yeah, yeah, those seed oils are bad, man.
yeah.
I didn't know about those, but yeah, so I do that. I drink water. I do drink coffee. I have a cup in the morning, and sometimes I'll have a cup in the afternoon. I use whole cream in my coffee. Um, Before I did that, I was using the sugar-free creamers, and
Mm.
those do cause issues because they had aspartame or sucralose in it, and I can't do that. I could
Well,
tell the difference.
it's not just the like the cream and the milk that you add to your coffee. It's the coffee itself. Um, I mean, even if you have it like a really high quality coffee, which there are very few of around the world that are actually coffee, because a lot of it's actually cut with a lot of different things, chemicals and things like that. But coffee itself also produces acrylamide. Because any plant material that is processed with heat, so any kind of carbohydrate, but very quite high in coffee, it makes acrylamide, and acrylamide directly affects your thyroid gland.
Really?
And it's very this will put on a lot of body fat. It'll disrupt your
Really?
hormone production because it directly affects the way you produce hormones. So
Wow. I didn't
yeah, it
know
can do
that.
a lot of damage.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning stuff all the time. I'm still a newbie, but I am learning stuff, daily. There's so much to learn about, the foods that we eat and how bad things are,
Yeah, well,
So,
that's the good thing about this too, is you really do learn a lot when you have a YouTube channel, or you go have a look at all these other stories. And there's a lot of people on carnivore still drink coffee. I've seen a lot of them actually. They'll go to Starbucks every day, for example, which is just crazy to me because everything on the Starbucks menu is full of seed oils, and
oh no.
some of them are extremely toxic seed oils as well.
Oh, wow. And I had a huge Starbucks addiction before this. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I was just glad that I'm not spending the money because it was costing me a fortune. So just giving that up, I didn't even think about health wise because I thought,
Yeah.
well, if I went in and I just ordered the low carb one because they had like the sugar-free syrups and whole whipping cream, I thought I'd still be doing good, but no, it would not have been
Yeah,
good.
well, they want you to think that, don't they? They say if they are low fat, and this is not sugar. It's vegetable gum and all this sort of other stuff. But
Right.
vegetable gums they use in labs to grow tumors, for example, for cancer research. Some of the seed oils like
Crazy.
carrageenan is very popular. Is
Yeah, you
pretty much
see
in
that a
every
lot.
every product that you see in Starbucks. They use to grow tumors for prostate cancer and things like that.
Wow. That's
Um,
nuts.
so yeah, this
I
is
did
the
not
sort of
know
stuff
that.
that they're actually giving us. Yeah,
Well, thank you for this.
no problem.
No, I needed to know that because I've always been saying I drink coffee and you're not going to pry it out of my cold dead hands. I'll always
Yeah,
be a coffee drinker, but now I'm rethinking that. Oh, that might be
yeah,
a tough one to give up. I know some carnivores that still drink alcohol and they're in the same position. They're like, they want to give it up, but it's difficult. There's some things
mm,
a little more difficult than others, but yeah, I'm at that point in my journey where I just want to continue feeling better. So if I have to make some tweaks here and there, I'm open to doing that. I am,
yeah.
like I said, I've healed from everything that I feel like I need to heal from, and I am losing the weight. So I thought, okay, I'm doing good, but maybe I could do even better. So if cutting out coffee would make me feel even better, then
Well,
yeah,
it takes time. It takes time, and like you said, like transitioning, I think is an important part of it. I think
right,
there should be at least a 3-month transition for everyone because otherwise it gets too extreme.
right,
If
yeah,
you just
yeah,
cut the difference, and your body goes through a lot of changes when you change your diet. People don't understand that there's a lot of healing involved. You got to give your body time to do this. It has to have time to start producing these hormones.
okay,
Um, and yeah, so like I think any kind of dietary change should take about 3-month period. I think.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
So
think that'll be the next thing I work on because right now, like I said, I drink anywhere from 1 to 2 cups a day. I don't drink in the morning. I only drink like half a cup. I always end up leaving half a cup on the counter every day. I come home and there it is.
yeah,
But I do. It's just the tradition. It's something I do every morning. The ritual of a hot
yeah,
coffee in the morning is the first couple of sips. So
yeah.
I'm sure I can find an alternative. Is there a bone broth, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing too.
Yeah.
It's a habit.
Right. That's
So
all. It's just a
but
habit, and
we
I
just
look
got to
forwd to at
replace
least a
those
couple.
bad habits with healthy habits. So, but
Right,
everyone goes through.
right. So,
Yeah. So,
but I like I said, I'm
cool.
willing because I like feeling good. And if I can feel even better, I'm willing to make the changes. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm
Well,
just
that's
looking to
good.
see if there's any other tweaks that I need to make. I recently found out from Bart Kay and Dr. Sean Baker that it's not necessary to eat grass-fed beef.
No.
I thought that was, you
If you
had
eat
to.
if you eat ruminants, yeah, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Um, yeah, ruminants, because they have multiple stomachs, they can break things down a lot easier, so it doesn't come out in the meat or the fat. The only difference is like grass-fed. You'll see there are, like for example, grass-fed steak. The fat will be more yellow because it has more nutrients in it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Whereas the grain finished will be a little bit whiter. And it's a slight difference in the amount of deuterium. So grass fed and finished has less deuterium, but that's about it. You're still going to be healthy on it. But where it does make a difference is with monogastric animals like chickens, and that includes eggs. If they're not pasture raised, even if they're like, they'll tell you that they're like free range, they still eat soy pellets and things like that. So whatever they eat comes out in their flesh and whatever product that you get from them. So the eggs have soy products in them as well. Same with
Okay.
pigs; they're monogastric. So whatever the pig eats comes out in the flesh, whether it's bacon or any other sort of meat. So that's the only difference. So I stay away from monogastric animals unless I know the source.
Okay.
So that's
Good
just
to
me.
know.
Mm.
Okay. And and that's another thing I do like about the carnivore community. We all are a little bit different. Everybody has a little bit different situation and they might be on a different path, but there's no carnivore cops. You're not going to lose your carnivore membership card.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to help by, giving you advice on what might work better for you or might be more helpful. But in the end, I think Barkay said if you're eating 70% or more of your calories in meat, you're a carnivore. And
Yeah, that's right.
and I'm eating 90%, but I still was calling myself a ketovore because I didn't feel like I was worthy of the title carnivore. That was for extremists. And I didn't feel like I was there, but I am. That's what I do. I don't eat anything but beef, butter, and eggs. Well, I'm, very rarely do we have seafood or chicken. It's mainly just beef, or bacon. But
Yeah.
and like I said,
That's
there's
good.
no carnivore police. Everybody's helpful and nobody's been judgmental. If they do things that are a little bit different, they suggest it. They'll be like, well, you might want to try this. I'm doing this and it's been helpful. And, everybody's just been so kind. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate the people that I've met online. I hope to meet up. There's all these great meetups and everybody's going but me. Sarah, the healthy carnivore from the UK, she's going to be going to one by her soon. And I'm so jealous. There's going to be all these rock stars in the carnivore community there. And she's going to get her picture taken with them.
You'll find one. They're getting more popular now, so they're spreading it around.
I know.
So
We need to have one in California. Somebody needs to come out here.
yeah, I don't know. That might be a while.
I know they're all over there. You guys get them all.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go, what last bit of advice would you give anyone who's thinking about or considering trying the carnivore diet?
Well, don't go into it thinking it's a deprivation diet and act like, oh, I'm just going to do this to lose the weight. When you start it, eat meat like it's your job, and don't let yourself be hungry, because if you're hungry, that's what's going to cause you to slip up and eat all the other stuff. Just, remember the first couple of weeks, your main job is to kick the carb habit and the sugar habit. And you can't do that if you're hungry. So eat meat, eat lots of it, eat until you're full, and drink lots of water. And once you get past that, it's I want to say smooth sailing. There's still going to be some bumps in the road, but my gosh, it is so much easier once you get over the carb and sugar addiction. And every time I wanted an ice cream or a cookie, I stuffed meat in my face. And that made all the difference in the world. And then, like I said, you're going to start noticing changes almost immediately. And that's what helped encourage me to continue on with it. Every day, it seemed like I noticed something new, something better.
Yeah.
So, and especially, if you're my age, we don't have time to waste. It's like, I wished I would have started years ago,
Yeah,
but all
that's right.
carnivores say that.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
right.
it's
We all wish we
gonna,
had done this sooner. Yeah. Yeah.
right. Everybody says that, but yeah, especially as we get older, let's not waste any time. Get on it.
Yeah.
It's been the easiest diet I've ever tried. I've tried them all. I always say that I've tried them all, from Weight Watchers to Jenny Craig, all of them, the Loma Linda diet. None of them made me feel as good as the carnivore diet has. It hasn't been about losing weight. It's been about healing and feeling your best. And I feel great. So yeah,
Yeah.
that
That's
would be it.
fantastic. Excellent. Great advice.